Ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, dear members of the organizing committee and the executive committee, dear partners, it is with great pleasure that I welcome you today to this exceptional on-site session of the International Conference on Gamification and Serious Game. My name is Laurent Frobert. I'm the Vice Dean of Pedagogical Development. On behalf of the management team of the Haute École de la Santé La Source, University of Applied Sciences and Arts Western Switzerland, allow me to wish you a warm welcome. I would like to particularly thank our colleagues and partners for this physical and virtual move to Lausanne in our school. Today's presentations and exchanges will take place both face-to-face and remotely. Indeed, we are now used to this type of configuration, especially when teaching to our students in the pandemic context. So once more, welcome and thank you for your participating in this conference. Gamification touches many fields, especially health, rehabilitation, education, and training. In this context, it appears only logical to be welcoming you to a University of Health focused on clinical practice, teaching, and research. More and more serious game applications are being developed in clinical settings, both for patients and health professionals. They can also address the relationship between professionals and patients. Increasingly, the production of gamification processes is oriented towards healthcare personnel. For several years now, La Source has been introducing the use of serious games in teaching, starting with the teaching of clinical nursing assessment, an essential skill to practice the profession. The use of serious games has since expanded into other fields, encouraged by teachers and the active participation of students. Projects have also been developed in the clinical field with care teams, particularly through research. This is the case, for example, with emergency teams. For more than 160 years, La Source has placed a special emphasis on innovation. It develops and implements innovative methods and practices aimed at improving both the quality of teaching and the quality of care provided to patients in conjunction with research. So we receive you today in our Beaulieu site, which is a good representation of the importance given to innovation. It includes a simulated hospital, an innovation laboratory, the Source Innovation Lab, and areas dedicated to teaching, research, and partnerships with companies. This area represents an incredible playground, a conducive environment for the development of creativity, focusing on the quality of care and education. We are delighted to share this program with you today for this conference. So without further ado, I would like to hand over to Stéphane Gaubron, who will present today's program. Thank you.
Many thanks for this introduction. Wait, So, good morning, everyone. It is my great pleasure to begin this conference on site. And this presentation will be quite short. I will briefly talk about what is the GSGS, why we do that, the experience we had, then the program so far, then the 4 sessions that will come, and then the sponsors, and I will just leave then the talk to Sundar. So basically, GSGS is about bringing companies and universities, especially applied universities, together to make projects around their gamification and serious game. Is it necessary or not? Is it about simulation only? And then to be able to make a real success about it. The experience of this gamification and serious game symposium is basically 5 years until now. This is the 6th year. And we made the first 5 years in Neuchâtel, incubated by the NIF, the Neuchâtel Festival, Film Festival, during 3 years, and then as a partner with the NIF. Now we are beginning to fly by ourselves, and the rule will be to stay in Switzerland, but to move from cities to cities. 2 years, and this will be, this is the very first time we are out of Neuchâtel in Lausanne, and thank you so much to welcome us in La Source. The program here, as you can see in blue, was mainly about 3 online sessions and 2 on-site days, full days. The sessions were animated by Julien Schechter, and so far it went fairly well, and we were very pleased by mainly students who provided abstracts and very original project and proposal are quite a lot about health actually and healthcare. This program then is followed by 2 days that are quite heavy, as you can see. Many things will be shown in 4 sessions, and these 4 sessions will be animated by 4 chairs. Sundar here, that I will give the place just after that, and then Stefano Carino, and then Yacine Rekik, and then Christian Morio. These people will animate 4 roundtables. The first one will be about bringing to the development of health of our professional care. What about then drawbacks and limitations of serious games and gamification in health? Then Yacine will talk about moving forwards in a gamified society. Does the future of this society is just about game or gamified stuff? And then Christian will I'm losing my words. We'll talk about a better learning and playground for better teaching. There will be 3 main talks, 2 keynote speakers with Aurélie talking about serious games and gamification for practical example for health. She's from a private company in France that is very innovative and dynamic in the domain, and I'm pretty sure she will bring quite a lot of idea for us. And I'm pretty sure I'm seeing her behind. From Sweden, and not Switzerland, please don't mix. Bjorn will talk about providing the future of digital game-based learning by examining the past. So it will be a meta review of the domain. And the second main speaker is Eric Sanchez, who will talk about learning through play. Is it a myth or reality? The conference book is about to be online at this QR code, and you will very soon get the address directly on your email. I would like to point out this book, this proceeding is a bit special this year, because for the first year there's a kind of secret somewhere. There's a hidden sentence that has to be found. It's a bit tricky. There's maybe some math to do, I'm sorry for that. And please, the first one who will be able to bring the right sentence to me, Stefan Cabral, then we'll get a gift. The sponsors, main sponsors definitely is the Swiss Confederation with the Inno-Swiss program. The second main sponsor is HEARC and HESSO. And of course, we are here now in La Source, and we can consider it to be a great, great sponsor. Thanks again. Well, my introduction speech is about to finish. It will be my pleasure to start the first session with Asunda. Many thanks.
Good morning, my name is Assunta Fiorentino. I'm a lecturer here in the School of Nursing in La Source, and I got a certification in emergency nursing and also a master in nursing science. I'm very interested by serious game in the field of emergency nursing. The last year we present here our serious game project on triage decision making for nurse. I will be facilitating this session this morning during the half two sessions. We will have 4 speakers who will present their works on different subjects. First, an interesting topic on the cognitive assessment of older adults with the support of a game by Fernanda Oliveira of the University of Technology from Sydney. Another one on AR gamified solution for human training skills for health professionals by Yassine Rekik of APIA from Switzerland. The other 2 subjects brought by Mohamed Mouhawi of the Faculty of Medicine and Pharmacy from Casablanca, one with a new concept of gamification in the field of emergency medicine, the SIMCAP, and another one with the creation of a board in the settings of intensive care and emergency medicine. We will stop around 11:20, and the next step will be a roundtable session to answer the following question: what can gamification or serious games bring to the development of all professional skills compared to more traditional learning approach? Excuse my English, maybe it's not very fluent sometimes. Maybe I can lose my words. I apologize now. And after, maybe for the round table, I will ask you to help me if I lose my words. First, we're gonna listen Fernanda Oliveira with games for the cognitive assessment of older adults. Please, the virtual stage is yours, Fernanda. Fernanda, can you...
Hi, Fernanda. You can say hi.
Hello.
So I think we start with the video.
Hello, my name is Fernanda Oliveira. Today I will present a short paper called Games for the Cognitive Assessment of Older Adults, which I wrote together with James Garcia and Valerie Gay. We are from the University of Technology, Sydney. This is the outline of this presentation. I will begin with an explanation of the context of this project. Then I will comment on the issues that are being addressed, the solution that we are proposing, the relevant innovation in the solution, the outcomes of this project, and finally I will complete this presentation with the conclusion, perspectives, and needs. Cognitive screening instruments are used to diagnose neurocognitive disorders. Over the past 45 years, cognitive screening instruments have been developed and extensively researched. Initially, these tests were pencil and paper based. With increasing advances in technology, tests also evolved to electronic versions. Many advantages are associated with the use of digital tests, including reduced time and costs related to staffing, higher reliability and clinical efficiency by adopting automatic scoring, the possibility of remote administration, the suitability for frequently repeated assessment, and more recently, serious games have been investigated as a promising approach to improve cognitive screening. Games share the same advantages of electronic versions of tests and also can encourage and persuade older adults to undertake an assessment by offering a gameful experience. Previous researches included both well-known and bespoke games. However, there are challenges with both approaches. On the one hand, commercial or well-known games that have not been designed for such purpose do not address cognitive screening instruments requirements. In addition, they do not necessarily take into consideration the age-related changes of older adults. On the other hand, bespoke games offer the freedom to include any design requirements, but often at the cost of fun and engagement. The design and development of ideal games remain an open challenge. To address this open challenge, we propose Cogworld Travel, a serious game that screens for the signs of neurocognitive disorders in older adults. Cogworld Travel is engaging and appealing to older adults. We use slower-paced game mechanics with some intellectual challenge, as many older adults present difficulties in hearing, vision, cognition, or mobility. The game is designed using great color contrast, adapting the font size, reducing the complexity for movement control, and avoiding cognitive load. The game also satisfies the requirements for an effective cognitive screening instrument and includes samples of complex attention, executive function, learning and memory, language, and perceptual motor. Cogworld Travel goes beyond the infusion of game-like mechanics in digital tests. It is a full-blown game with a story progression that includes traveling within 46 countries on 6 continents. The game has Linda as the main character, who just retired after so many years dedicated to her successful career. Now she feels that's a good time to look after herself, and she's planning to travel around the world. Linda invites the player to come along in this adventure. The game includes 8 game mechanics to measure cognitive performance. Local culture is inspired by the Warrington recognition memory tests and assesses discrimination between old and new items that are related to the culture of the visited country. International cuisine is based on verbal learning list tests, where the player learns ingredients of a typical recipe to be recalled later in family call. Language lesson tests language abilities in a contextualized word generation activity. Both family call and language lesson is inspired in the Montreal Cognitive Assessment. Tourist attractions is inspired by the Corsi Blocks tests. It involves memorizing the order in which places are shown on a map. Native fauna is inspired by the Whack-A-Mole arcade game and the Wisconsin card sorting test. While the player takes photos of wild animals as they pop up in the scenario, reaction time is recorded. Packing time involves visual spatial problem solving and motor coordination skills as the player organizes tetromino-shaped cloth in a suitcase. Luggage tracking is designed to boost points and unlock other destinations, while selective visual attention is tested. which refers to the ability to select information among other visual inputs. This article presents an original game that can collect important information about the cognitive performance of older adults while offering them a fun activity. Game mechanics are adapted from validated and well-researched neuropsychological tests and immersed in an engaging trip around the world. The continuation of this research includes experimental studies to evaluate the validity of cogword travel as a cognitive screening instrument. The definition of psychometrical properties is needed so that the game can be incorporated in practices for detecting neurocognitive disorders. In addition, it's of paramount importance the analysis of the acceptance of the game by older adults so that we can identify what motivates them. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to contact me via email or LinkedIn. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much, Fernanda, for your presentation. It's very interesting field. Is there some question you want to ask in the audience? Yes? Elle doit prendre le micro ou pas?
Can we play it now to test it?
Did you listen the question or not, Fernanda? Ah, on n'a pas le micro. Yes. We don't have the sound. Oh, yes. Can you hear, Fernanda, the question?
Yes. No, I didn't hear any
We
question.
can listen to you. We cannot listen.
I can hear you, but I didn't hear the question.
We have some technical problems, Fernanda. We're gonna have a resolution of that. Maybe problem solving.
Can you try to speak again?
Hi.
Can you post the question in the chat? Just ask whether it's accessible on the web or we can play it or something. It would be good to see.
Can we play this? Is available now? Can we play that in the game? Est-ce qu'on peut jouer au jeu? Est-ce qu'il est disponible? Est-ce qu'il est disponible?
Hi, Fernanda. The question was, can we play the game now? Is it available somewhere?
No, the game is being developed.
The question was, can we play the game now? Is it available somewhere? On peut pas l'entendre.
Can you hear me?
On t'en-
Ok. Thank you so much, Fernanda. We're gonna have so much time after just to answer at the question of the audience. We're gonna have next speakers. We're gonna have Yassine Rekik with his origami fix solution for human training skills. Thank you so much.
Ah, d'accord, super, magnifique. Yes, it works. Okay, hi everybody. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about the host project. I'm Yassine Rekik, professor at HEPIA, School of Engineering in Geneva. This project is a collaboration with the Hôpital Universitaire de Genève, HUG, and non, j'aime pas. Ah, je
C'est la régie.
Ok, mais je déteste ça. It's okay?
Non, au micro.
Okay, sorry. It's okay. Okay, so again, thank you for inviting me to present the host project. My name is Yassine Rekik, and I will present this collaboration with the Hôpital Universitaire de Genève. The project is aiming to develop a solution for human skills training for medical staff. So the idea mainly is to enhance for medical staffs communication, team working, and stress management. So it has nothing to do with expertise in medicine. It's really for human skills within a hospital. Okay, so the situation now is that in the HIG is Hôpital Universitaire de Genève, HIG, they have already one training made by classical, based on a well-known solution for staff training, and this solution is now deployed 1 or 2 times per year using real actors. So the idea is to put participants in a stressful situation, and the situation is a childbirth in an airplane. So they simulate a plane with seats and hublots, etc., and they create really the decor, and they put the participants in this situation. They present them a video to present the situation. You are coming back from a conference in Thailand, I think, or yeah, I think it's Thailand, from Bangkok, etc. And within the flight, there is a woman that will give birth to a child, and this stressful situation, there is 4 to 5 participants that have to solve it, and to be able to help this woman to give birth, they need to solve 3 enigma in order to get her medical information and to get 2 necessary instruments. So all this exists already. It works good, but the problem that there is some issues. The first one, after several study and feedback collected from participants, we noticed that people focus more on enigmas and games, and they forget the woman in many times. So they forget the purpose, the real purpose of and they just focus on gaming. There is a very low immersion because even they have a nice decor, etc., is still a decor. And if we see around, you can see that it's a decor. So there is very low immersion. There is also no way to communicate with the participants except by interrupt the simulation and talking to them. And this is also very bad for the immersion because there is a lot of interruption by the moderator. And of course, the last issue is that in this classical solution, there is no way to have any help for the debriefing after that. So there is no support for the debriefing. We have to take note on paper or to memorize what happens. There is nothing better than that. So our mission by collaborating with these teams is to solve all these problems. And to solve all these problems, we have proposed an immersion solution, a mixed reality-based solution. So the idea is that participants, from 2 to 4 participants, will have a HoloLens, a Microsoft HoloLens, in order to be immersed in a real plane. Okay. Of course, they will see other actors, or we can simulate actors. We have the both direction. We are working on both direction. But to be honest, for now, we don't have virtual actors. We have only real one, but we can see them and they are immersed in the plane. So we worked on that, and we transform all the decors and actors, etc., to virtual ones. Of course, people have a higher immersion. We also create with the virtual setting, we are able to have a lot of enigma. We are not constrained with 2 or 3 because of the physical constraints and logistics. We can create as much enigma as we want because they can be virtual. Also, we have created a tool for the moderator in order to discuss indirectly with the participants without interrupting the simulation. So they just have a board tool allowing them to send message, vocal or textual, to rise or trigger some events in the simulation, to give them some hints. So, for example, don't forget to do that, or you are losing time, etc. So all this communication now is made without interruption and by communicating directly with the HoloLens. So the tablet for the moderator communicate automatically with the HoloLens of the participants. And finally, we have also all this communication and everything performed by the participants is now stored. So all the video streams and all the discussion and all the notes taken by the moderators are stored. And at the end of the simulation or the session, the moderator can generate video-based debriefing or PDF document for debriefing. And this is a good help for them to be a base for the debriefing and for the discussion, and also to see it afterward, because sometimes we need to see what happens before to make comparison, to see if there is any improvement or not, etc. So the architecture, I will not go, okay. So I will not go very deep into details, but just to explain you the solution now. So the solution now is multi-users. It's a multi-users game developed by Unity. And this game has 2 main tools. The first one is running on HoloLens, okay? And these tools on the HoloLens allows participants to be, as I said, immersed in the plane, to communicate with others, and to try to solve all the enigma proposed virtually in the scenario. At the other hand, there is another tool, which is the monitoring and debriefing tool, which will be used by the moderator. And as I said, this tool allows for the moderator to have many capability. I think I will list them after that. No. So the moderator can do a lot of things. First, he can see all the view streams of participants, because the participants are wearing HoloLens, so the moderator cannot see exactly what they are seeing or watching. So the idea is to have on the moderator tool the video stream of all the participants. We have also another video stream capturing the whole scene. So we have a webcam, a general stream allowing to see what happens in general, not for each participant. Second. Third, as I said, the monitor can send message to all participants or to one specific participant. So he can select to broadcast for all, or he can select one participant and send him a message without interrupting the simulation, without losing immersion. And this message can be vocal or it can be textual. Third, we have also the possibility, as I said, to rise or to trigger some events into the simulation. So let me give you one example. So for example, if the participants do well and have good progress, the moderator can, within the simulation, try to enhance the stress. So what he can do is to add some stressful events. So for example, the captain of the plane can come and say something. We have to land in 5 minutes. We have no carburant or whatever. So of course, all these these events are pre-defined and pre-recorded, but it's up to the moderator to raise them and to trigger them whenever he considers that it can bring something. So this is events. And there is another kind of events which are hints, helps. So if the opposite situation, if the team is not performing well, what we can do is to give them some hints. So for example, for one enigma, we can give them one indication, see in this bag, go to the back of the plane, it can help you. Something like this in order to avoid stagnation or to avoid demotivation, so he can. So the moderator can do all these actions without interruption and without losing any immersion. And at the same time, the moderator can take notes, okay? And what is helpful is all these notes he takes or all the comments he is taking are stamped, are time stamped. So when we generate the debriefing after that, we can see that this note corresponds to or is matching with this situation in the scene. So we can justify why we have this note or this comment, etc. So everything is time stamped. At the end, as I said, at the end of the simulation, the moderator can generate. First, he can save and store all the session and all the streams, etc. And then he can generate a debriefing media. It can be video or PDF files. He can generate both. And the debriefing is that we will take any events, any hints, and any notes, and we will add to it few seconds before and few seconds after. Because the idea is not to review all the session. The session can have a duration of 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, but sometimes. So the idea is not to have all these. The idea is to have only important events and to have few seconds before, few seconds after to have the context. So all these have been developed using this architecture. So as you can see, we have the moderation tool, we have the participants, and between them we have developed a media server which is responsible of storing all the streams of video and to manage the communication between both of them. Okay, so I think the best way to have an idea and a feeling of the application is to see a little bit, it's not a demo, it's my students and my assistants, they film themselves with their family using the tool, because until now we haven't yet tested with real medical stuff, okay? This is supposed to be done, in fact, we have planned to do it months ago, but with the COVID, etc., it has been delayed, so we hope we can test it in September. So, si tu peux passer la vidéo, thank you. Okay, so this is the idea. So as you can see, the participants are wearing HoloLens, but this is the moderator. So the moderator first have to set the simulation, because the tool can work with many settings and many simulation. Of course, we have developed now only one, which is childbirth on a plane, but we can imagine other situation. So he have to register all the participants. This is all the HoloLens that will participate, and we need some mapping and some configuration at the starting of the simulation. Okay, so this is something we have to do in order to have all the HoloLens mapped to the same 3D model, and then any participant will see. Okay, so now we will add the participants. Okay, give them some name, etc. This is the second participant. We can go from 2 to 4. We can go more than 4, but we have noticed that performance degrades drastically after 4 participants. So this is what the participant can see. And as you can see, sometimes he can get a message from the moderator. So the moderator takes the message here. He's seeing the global context and all the video streams of participants, and he can send him messages to encourage him, to give him hints, etc. Here he is triggering some events. So, for example, we don't have sound now, but in this case, this woman is screaming, etc. So it can
We've now reached our destination.
etc.
We hope you enjoyed the flight and have a nice day.
This is the captain speaking. Okay, this is to give examples of some hints. So, for example, here there is an enigma to solve a directional cadenas, etc. So we can give him hints in order to say, yeah, look in this bag, or go there, etc. Okay, and as I said before, what is very nice in this application is that there is no interruption. The simulation is continuing, and we can discuss with all the participants. So here it's the tool to take notes, etc. Okay. Of course, the moderator can have as main stream one participant or the global camera. It's up to the moderator to select the stream he wants to see. So now it's the end of the simulation. Okay, so he can adjust some commands, some notes he take, and at the end he saves the simulation. So first we can see this simulation next time, and he can also generate streaming. So as you can see, we will generate automatically a video reporting the main events and the main actions within the simulation. And of course we can save them, we can delete them, etc. We have all the management we can see. This is a PDF version of the simulation. yeah, here we have all the stored simulation we have performed before. Okay, I think it's okay to just to have a feeling of the application. And now, yeah, before the question, only to conclude. So currently we have a solution working with Unity, HoloLens 2 version. As I said, the solution now is working with 2 to 4 participants. Theoretically, we can have more, but practically, I think it's our media server which is not capable to manage more than 4 streams, 5 streams in parallel, etc. So we limit to 4 participants. We can have more participants real, but people having the HoloLens only 4. The solution is working now, but we are limited to 1 scenario, 3 enigma within the scenario. So we have more or less reproduced the same things we had in real in the virtual world. But we have developed all the architecture and all the Unity application in order to be extensible and to have the possibility to create other decors, other hints, other enigma. So we are not limited to this idea of airplane childbirth. We can have, for example, people lost in a forest, or people locked in a room, or whatever. Any decor. Of course, we have to build the decor and to introduce it in the tool, but this is not a big issue, because all the mechanism will have been developed in a generic way and will work with that. As I said, we have tested with people, with our families, assistants, staff. The doctor's team I am working with have also tested it, and they really appreciate it, and they have asked for funding from the Geneva Hospital funds in order to develop, let's say, a more packaged and professional version of these tools, but we are waiting for the answer. But as I said, we haven't not yet tested it with real participants, medical staff in the real situation, and it is supposed to be done in September or October, when the situation will be more cool, let's say. Okay, so this is the situation. Thank you for your interest and for hearing me, and I will be glad to answer questions if there is questions.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Is there a question in the audience?
Yeah.
Have you developed any other scenarios that will be appropriate for this?
As I said, not yet. We have developed the tools and the whole architecture in order to be extensible. So it will be relatively easy to have other scenarios. What we need is only to have the decors. So, for example, here we have the plane. We can move in the plane. We have mapped the plane, etc. So if we want to develop the same things in, let's say, a locked laboratory, for example, and we have to resolve enigma or to manage a medical urgency in a locked room, we have to create this room, to create the appropriate enigma, and then to introduce them in the tool. And this is not a very challenging stuff. Of course, it's not plug and play. It's not in 1 minute. But let's say it's a 2-3 days work, and we can have another scenario, because we have developed all the communication mechanisms and all the streams capturing, etc., in a generic way.
Il y avait une autre question tout au fond. Quelqu'un lève la main au fond? Oui. Et après.
The host controls is clear, so you have an
It's not an iPad. But it can be. No, it's a now it's a Google Samsung tablet.
That's all right, but how do the players, so the ones with the HoloLens, how do they control? What's their input?
The players.
Yeah.
No, the players have they cannot act on the scenario. The only things they can do is to resolve enigma in order to save the woman. This is the target. So what they can do is to point some stuff. For example, in order to resolve the enigma of the cadenas, they have directional cadena. They have to unlock it. They have to see some indication in the back of some seats or in the locks or in under the seats, etc. And there is some messages that will be displayed for them, and they can click, point, etc. So they only act on some specific objects in the decor. They can act on it by pointing, etc. The HoloLens allows that by the ray casting, etc. But they cannot act on the scenario by itself. This is the role of the moderator. I don't know if I answered.
Yeah, so the player control is connected with the ray tracing of the HoloLens.
Yeah, and by hand also. You can point something by the hand, you can click, etc. In the HoloLens, there is some capability to interact with objects. It's possible. Thanks.
We
I
have
think
two
we have
questions
question here.
here. Maybe
For the moderator, who is this person? Is a person like Assunta? I can imagine that takes the role of moderator. Do you need some skills, special skills? Do you
What?
think because you are a nurse or you are a
Yeah, yeah.
psychologist or something like that?
Okay. Now the situation is that the moderator are the creator of this program, really. So there are two doctors. In fact, Marie Sanfost, which I collaborate with, and another doctor also. Both of them are doctors at HIG, and they have the initiator of this initiative. So they took this idea of team building, etc., used in in fact, at the beginning, let's say this training is based on a training performed for the airplane staffs, etc. So they take it and they transform it, they adapted this training to the medical staff, but to target the same objectives: staff building, stress management, communication, hierarchization of decision making, etc. So now the two moderators are these two doctors because they manage well the scenario. It's their baby, so they know. But I don't know if the idea after that, if we want to deploy these tools. Of course, in my opinion, the moderator must be the one who created the scenario, because you cannot moderate a simulation of something you are not, you don't master it and you don't create it. So I think, but yeah, I don't know if we need, which skill we need. In my opinion, the only skills we need is that you are the creator of the scenario. So you master the scenario. You know if participants are progressing well or not, etc. So you can act on the scenario.
At some point in the scenario, we saw an event with a passenger doing something,
Yeah.
virtual agent. So to what extent are real actor actually necessary, or do you consider replacing real actors by virtual agents that are?
Yeah, so we have discussed a lot with the medical staff, and they said still having actors is something which is good.
Is there physical contact?
Yeah, if there is real actors, yes, there is a really real contact. So now, for example, what they use, even with the HoloLens, what is planned is to still have the woman, her husband, and the captain of the plane as real figurant actors. Why? Because we need to, even if we move, we have to come back to this woman. Also, the woman can make some stress by, as I said, screaming, saying something, being not cooperative, etc. And this is very difficult to do it virtually because we cannot have the real contact. But for to simplify the logistics and the ability to run this simulation at any context, they also want to have another version where everything is virtual, even the woman, his husband, the captain, etc. But to be honest, this is not been it is not done yet. For now, it's a kind of mixture. We have the 4 participants, the plane, all the triggers, enigma, etc. But we still have the 3 actors.
And the actors, do they need the HoloLens?
No. They have only to play their roles. So the husband, his role is to be stressed and perturbing everyone. The woman is to scream and to... and the captain is to come and to make a lot of announcement, making the stress higher or lower. It depends.
How does the moderator communicate with the actors to trigger?
This is the problem. We come back to the classical way. He have to speak and to ask, to come closer to the woman and ask him to scream, etc. There is also another thing. The actor they are using now is also a medical staff, so they know very well the scenario, and sometimes they anticipate. They don't need even the moderator to ask them to do something. But I understand the question. The question is, we wanted to have a higher immersion with no interruption. If we want to reach that, we have to have everything virtual, or we have to have a solution with the actors. It can be, how we call a small hearing device in the ear or whatever, but we don't tackle this issue yet.
There is a question online from YouTube. Bjorn Marken wants to know what is your experience with HoloLens, and do you see this device getting better with time, or if you had problem with it? And a second question is, do you see this implemented in different spaces, as many people in different places around the world can play together? Thanks for the 2 questions.
Okay, thank you, Sam, and thanks for the question. The first one, HoloLens. Okay, HoloLens, it's let's say it's a big technical solution, really, because it's not easy to have ergonomic, usable devices allowing you to have the real world and to have good quality augmentation on that. To be honest, the HoloLens make it good. The HoloLens first version has a big issue, 2 big issues. The first one is the how we can call it, the range of the l'envergure, comment on appelle, how we call?
The line of sight?
Yeah, the line of sight were very reduced. We have 32-degree angle, so it is not enough to have augmentation around the participants. Microsoft made a big improvement, and the HoloLens 2 now is 56, which is more or less 56, yes?
It sells 56, but in practice it's more 42.
Okay, let's say we are progressing, and the quality, in my opinion, we don't reach something which is really immersive 100%, but the solution is encouraging, promising, and I think it's something we can work with it. The second issue with the interaction. With the HoloLens 1, interactions were very limited, only the click and the A direction. Now with the HoloLens 2, they added all the gesture interactions and also the ray casting, etc. So it's more powerful. So let's say in one word, it's not perfect, but it's something amazing. This is my opinion. Now for to have people working in different locations, in fact, in my case, this is not the target. The target is to have people working in a reduced space, because the idea is to be able to manage space, decisions, communications, touching, movement. It's part of the training. So it was not targeted, so this is why we didn't consider it at all. But technically, it's possible, because we can have people in many rooms. If they map what they see to the 3D models, they will see the same things, but they will not see the other participants, except if we create avatars for them. But this will make it much more complicated, and it's not for tomorrow. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We're gonna take a break of 15 minutes. I apologize if we don't have the next speakers online. We apologize for that. We're gonna take 15 minutes of break, and after we're gonna take the round table. Thank you so much.
And I also take this opportunity to say two things. First of all, there will be some demo at the end of the amphitheater. Just a couple, fairly fun, from one from Entrée de Jeu, and another one that is a project in prospect currently with the CHUV about how to introduce new staff members in the CHUV Urgence. Once again, so sorry, the speaker that was supposed to be here for the next two paper is director of the emergency of Casablanca, and it seems to be that is very, very busy in his own medical professional issue. So sorry for that, and talk to you very soon for the round table in about 15 minutes. And also, the proceeding book is online now, so you can use this QR code and try to find the secret sentence.
Si dans Zoom, les micros est coupé, là, en bas, elle ne peut pas nous entendre, je pense. Non, on ne peut pas. Donc on allume, ok. Il y avait juste un retour d'audio quand toi, c'était allumé chez toi, je pense.
Moi, je l'entends, faites ça.
Oui.
Vous m'entendez là? Pourtant, je me désactive mon micro puis je parle. Un, deux, trois, quatre.
Hello. Can you hear me? You are muted.
Yes, we can hear you perfectly. It's okay. Thanks.
Hear me? You are muted.
Yes, we can hear you perfectly. It's okay.
Yeah, probably when I talk, I need to stop the YouTube.
Par moi? C'est moi qui parlais là. So there is a bit of. Vous coupez le son du coup ou je voulais juste y dire deux mots, mais je continue de parler ou bien? On s'en fout, on fera des coupages ou bien? Ah.
Que le bouton soit vert.
Ah mince.
Probably when I talk, I need to stop the YouTube.
T'es tous maintenant. Voilà, comme ça on peut les laisser allumer.
Oui, oui, merci.
Par moi, c'est moi qui parlais là. So there is a bit of.
Voilà, comme ça, je parle pas.
Ok.
Ici, comme ça, elle nous entend aussi.
Mais ça peut faire des... Non? Ok. No, it's okay.
We gonna begin the round table. We gonna have your attention.
Hi. Bonjour. Enchanté.
Juste pour que je vous présente.
Bonjour, Sandra Schweigoser.
Alors, oui.
Département des services de l'information du CHUV.
Glad. Chauvin.
Département des
Oui.
services de l'information, la
Oui.
DSI.
Ouais.
La cam, je descends.
Service information.
Et responsable
Oui.
de la transformation
Et
digitale.
tu m'as demandé quoi?
Et change management.
Ensemble.
Digital transformation
Ou
and
sinon,
change
je vous laisse vous
management.
présenter.
J'ai rien compris.
Sandra Schweigoser.
Ah,
S-C-H-W.
A-G, c'est ça?
S-C-H-W.
S-C-H.
Ça s'évolue ou pas?
E-I.
G-H.
Ah, ok.
G-H.
A-U.
A-U.
Non, je voulais savoir, je fais quelque chose ou c'est tout bon?
Et puis vous
Ah, c'était pour dire tout. Ok, super.
Oui, oui, je sais.
Alors,
Je vais partager avec elle. Quand
On
elle
va
elle
poser
parle,
une
je vais tourner un
question
petit peu la...
puis on voit.
pour qu'elle se prenne en caméra. Ça joue? Comment elle s'appelle?
Fernanda.
Fernanda, do you hear us?
Yes, I do.
Ah, nice. Quand vous allez parler, je vais tourner un petit peu pour que vous soyez prise en vidéo. Ou sinon, on laisse comme ça dès le
Ça va
départ.
très bien.
Voilà.
Ça va très bien.
Ça joue?
Ok.
Voilà, fais comme ça.
Okay, I have some questions for Fernanda for her presentation. I have do some tests from cognitive tests with some older adults with my cognitive troubles. I have a question, how this game can be introduced with this population. We know how it's difficult sometimes to do the test, and sometimes we gonna trigger some comportments or different components with older, and how this could be tested with this older adults with mild cognitive troubles. How you gonna think to do that in different settings, in nursing homes? How do you reflect about that?
Okay, I hope to have understood well your question because it's a bit far.
Do you want to to repeat the question? Do you listen to us? Je sais pas si on l'a perdu.
On n'entend rien. On l'a perdu.
We lost you. We are sorry.
So I believe that the question was more regarding the applicability of the game, right? How it can be used by all the adults.
J'ai pas tout bien entendu. Mais...
On n'entend pas grand-chose.
Nous, on n'a pas de retour, on entend faiblement.
How do you think to test that on older adults in different settings? Nursing home, hospitals, general medicine practitioner?
The verification procedure will be conducted in 2 stages. The first stage, I will demonstrate the game and ask feedback from healthcare professionals. In a second stage, I will ask all the adults to play the game, and I will administer the Montreal Cognitive assessment with them as well and compare the scores obtained in the game and in the Montreal Cognitive Assessment to confirm if I can find a positive correlation in these scores.
Okay, thank you so much. There was a question before. Can we play with this game now or not? Is it available?
So the game will probably be available in 2 months. We are having a team of game developers now working on this game. And we are making some improvements and very soon it will be available.
Okay, thank you so much. We're gonna begin with the questions of the round table. What can gamification or serious game bring to the development of all professional skills compared to more traditional learning approach? We're gonna have here Yacine Rekik, speakers before, and Sandra Schweighöser she's gonna present herself.
Hello, good morning, everybody. So my name is Sandra Schweighöser. I am working at CHUV, Centre Hospitalier Universitaire Vaudois, as in the DSI, so Département des Services de l'Information, and I am leading the digital transformation initiative as well as change management.
Who wants to answer to the question, what can gamification or serious game can bring to development of all professional skills compared to more traditional learning approach?
So maybe from my perspective, currently we are assessing several pedagogic methodology to train our personnel. Not only caregiver, but also all the administrative IT personnel. For example, currently we are assessing cyber attacks and cyber risk as a very, very important issue for a hospital. And we are now trying to find the best serious game we could customize based on hospital issue regarding cyber attack. So this is something, you just mentioned that during your presentation. It is important to immerse people and also to have this immersion and also tabletop training in order to have the right reaction the day you really have in the hospital a cyber attack. So for us, it's a key element of training our personnel.
Thank you so much. This is a very important issue for safety patient. Cyber attacks, we know that in Deutschland there is Germany was a hospital cyber attack and there was unfortunately a death of patient about that. I think it's an important issue for now.
It's important, and with a serious game you can really make this immersion. And not only the caregiver, but also IT administrative personnel needs to be trained. What is the right behavior at this time?
Yes.
Can I add something? Yeah. Of course, the question is very large, broad, and it's difficult to answer it in a precise way. But let me give 2 levels of answers. The first one, I think that what can games and games technology brings to the training is all the technological advances we have in this sector. We have to remember that the gaming industry have helped us to have many amazing technologies. For example, computer graphics have made a lot of progress thanks to gaming and gaming actors. Developing, for example, multi-users application with high level of interaction and communication is also not only due to games, but games contributes to that. So the first level of answer is that the game technology by itself give us a lot of new technologies, new way of designing applications, focusing on ergonomy, on usability, on high interaction. And all this, if we bring it even in classical applications, it's by itself an added value, a big added value, because we have also to consider that the users of now are not the users of 20 years ago. The users of now are people raising with gaming, with touch screens, etc. It's a kind of extension of their body. They are used to that, and if you give them old-fashioned applications, for them it's Moyen Age. So things progress a lot. So already for that we have a lot to learn about gaming technologies, game design, etc., in order to enhance the usability and the interaction and the realism of the application. Now, if we go to the second level, do gamification by itself bring something to the classical way of learning and training? The experience and my little experience shows that it is not something mandatory. We don't need it in all time. But what is proved is that gaming always enhance the motivation of people, and especially the motivation for mid-term or long-term motivation, because the short-term motivation we can have it mainly. So you develop something new, you want to test it. Okay, this is the short-term motivation, and if you ask someone to use a new tool, in general, just by curiosity, he wants to test it. But this is for the first time, second time. But if you want something to run and to be used for 3 years, 4 years, every month, every week, or whatever, at any frequency, you need mid and long-term motivations. And for that, the gamification and the serious gaming way to do things can help a lot for this mid-term and long-term motivation. And this has been proved in many cases and for a lot of projects. This is what I can say for now. Perhaps I can get more ideas.
It's a mix of certain approach. You have to have serious game, you have to have traditional approach, but you have to mix it.
Of course, the big issue always is to have the good dosage, the good mixture between all that. Because if you as I said before, for example, the experience I have described before of gamifying a situation of childbirth, many times people spend 1 hour trying to solve the enigmas, etc., and they forget totally the purpose of the training, which is to save the woman. And this is let's say the side effects of gamification is we can go to and especially if the process is serious or is critical, etc. So there is something to be careful about, and this is why the gamification or because it's different. Serious gaming is something, gamification is other things. But for both of them, we have to find the good, as I said, mixture. And we have also to think a lot about, are there an added value to do that or not? Because if is it only aesthetic or to follow the wave, it's not the objective. The objective is to bring something. So, for example, let's come back again to my presentation. The work I have done, I added more or less nothing to the training by itself. They use enigma. I took the same enigma more or less, but what I tried to solve using game-oriented technology and game-based technology is to add better immersion, avoiding interruption, triggering things, flexibility. So as you can see, the idea is not to add gamification or serious games in every case at any level. The idea is to think what is the issue, what works well and what works less, and how you can solve this using all these technologies and these game design patterns we have.
Maybe another comment. Serious game should also address not only individual development or individual performance or individual training. Very often, we need to have a team building effect. People need to work together. They need to resolve the problems. They need to resolve the issue, but not as an individual, but as a team. And we also try to develop and customize serious game, which are on the market, in order to have team building at the same time, in order to make people, highly professional experts, working together, really to solve together the issue. And if we can have these both objective, not only training, immersion, having the right behavior at the right time, but also working together to find the best way to have the synergy of the team solving the issue, then it's really what we want to achieve. Not only individual training and performance, but team building performance.
Is there some question in the audience or in the virtual world of YouTube? Yes?
Yeah, so maybe what's the added value of these topics of gamification serious game compared to the old-fashioned role-playing game after all?
Just to repeat for the people on YouTube, what is the added value of serious game versus
Adding computers and
versus computer game approach?
Yeah, classical role playing.
Classical role games, okay.
Mainly the immersion. I think the immersion, you are under very stressful situation when you are totally immersed. And then you have to decide, you have to act. If you have a role game, the old way, in a workshop, seminar, first of all, you feel much more that it's a role game. You have other participants looking at you, and okay, the immersion is not really the same.
If I can add something, in many role-playing or in many classical scenarios, you have some logistic issues. So, for example, in many role plays, you need decor, you need some, I don't know, papers or documents or something to let you feel that you are in the situation. You know that if you make that tangible, you have to create it, and if you create it one time, you cannot change it. It's fixed. It's like that. The digital way to develop these things is this flexibility and accessibility with more or less zero investments, no investment. So, for example, if you, I'm sorry to take as an example always my talk, but because I know this experience well. So the experience of the childbirth in a plane. In order to develop one session, it need more or less 4 hour preparation of the seats, igloos. They have a lot of images they have made on paper, and they stick it around, etc. in order to try create this the good settings. Okay, but first it needs 4 hours to be set it up, then if we want to change anything, we cannot, or we have to invest time, etc., and efforts. By the digital way of doing that, you can switch from one situation to another, etc. It's a question of creativity. We don't have limitation, logistics, space, constraints, whatever. The only limitation with digital development is the creation and time and money, of course, of development. This is. There is also something, and I was trying also your question is a good introduction for my second comment. When we speak about training, there is two main situations. There is the training which is well organized in the institution or in one specific location, etc. But more and more, we are moving to a way of working and living where we are requiring training long life. And in many times, we need to train ourselves by ourselves, so individually, at home, in the train, in whatever, extra work hours, etc., because we needed a technology, rules, laws are changing so fast, so everybody need to make training. And for this situation, digital materials and gamified tools can give you this flexibility to play it whenever you want, wherever you want. At home, as I said, in the train, etc., there is some application, for example, for question-based training or whatever. We can even do it in the train. You have 1 hour train travel, you can do that. So all this flexibility for people who want to train by themselves, you cannot at any time organize things. Sometimes it's also a question of partners. You need a role playing, but you have no one with you. How? We will not pay people to do that at any time. So for all this reason, for all this flexibility and also immersion, as you said, and this capacity to decline and to develop rich material accessible anywhere at any time, really this gamification and serious gaming tools, or at least game technology based approach, can really help us to reach all these objectives.
And like today, if you want to organize a hybrid event with some people being present, others being elsewhere, you can also have experts coming from every part of the world, popping up in the event, and having this digitalization of the training allows you to have interactive session also with experts coming from everywhere.
Is there a question or something on YouTube? Yes?
As a non-digital enthusiast, I would like to comment on the fact that it's not necessarily more immersive to have a digital approach or digitalized approach. You can do live action role-play games in which it's extremely immersive, and you really believe you're in your character, organized and played quite a few. However, it's not. I think the question is worth asking at the beginning of the project, according to the objectives of the project, whether it is necessary or preferable to use digitalized and numerical information. Sometimes it is. For example, if you have to collect a lot of data, which is difficult to deal, if you have to take notes, this is useful. Or if you have to be very flexible in changing scenarios, etc. Doing technology for doing technology is something we try to avoid. In our case. So yeah, I want to make the case for non-digital games as well, or gamification as we are in an era in which everything becomes technological, and sometimes I'm just asking myself the question, do we really need an app for this? So yeah, maybe it's important to go back to the objectives of a project and ask ourselves whether it's really necessary to develop very costly programs.
Yes, and it depends really on the briefing of the objectives. You select the best tool based on the objective you have and the training you want to deliver. I think it's no sense to make digitalization just because it's hype. It has really to have a serious added value. First of all, developing something from scratch is very costly. And we have the tendency now to see what already exists in terms of games or serious games, and then we customize it based on our current needs. And I think this is maybe the way to have economy of scales. Another thing, if you think 10 years ago when you had this role play in a workshop setting, always the teacher, the animators, the facilitators had a recording. Because it's not only important to play, but you learn, you do that also for sport, for every sport, can be football or everything else. It's important to see you afterwards and reflecting in the debriefing. Why did I act that way? What was good, less good? What can I improve? So the recording was always 10 years ago something very important for the debriefing. So today, with technology, it is the process because it is recorded. You have the facilitator giving some inputs and feedback directly in real time, and it is recorded. And this is very precious for the participants to have this recording of their own play. And also for the facilitator, you can interact in real time and it is recorded. I currently have more than 20 years experience in teaching and animating, and it's not such an easy task. When you are in real time, you brief the participant, you have to take notes, you have to give some inputs to the participant, and at the same time you need to check the camera, the video recording. So at the same time you are doing 10 things. It's an issue if you teach.
If I can add a few comments on that. First, I totally agree with you making technology just to follow the wave or to just to show up that you master a technology is not the good idea. We totally agree of that. Of course, we are game developers, etc. So we try to make that in every sauce, on met ça dans toutes les sauces, comme on dit. It's okay. This is our enthusiasm. But really, to become more serious, there is a lot of situation when this technology can save us. Let me give you 2 or 3 examples. The first one, we are living the COVID periods, and the 2 previous years, if we didn't have technologies for online teaching, for simulation, etc., we would have lost 2 years of teaching. So it's not a choice sometimes. It's a constraint, it's a situation, and the technology can help. Of course, last week I had my orientation meeting in order to brainstorm about what happens during the year and etc. And everybody says that it's depressing for a long time, it's not good enough, etc. But what is the other choice we had? Nothing. It's comparing 0 and something with a lot of side effects and disadvantage, but at least it works. It brings something. This is first one. Second thing, there is a lot of training that can require a lot, as I said, a lot of logistics that you cannot even have. If the idea is to train something, for example, to make the maintenance of a nuclear site or something like that, how can you access to such site? It's very difficult. It requires authorization, time, etc. You are limited by number of person, etc. For example, for medical stuff, you have to train yourself on I don't know, saving a patient, etc. You can, but you can have a role playing for something. But if you need to go, for example, inside and see his body, etc., it's a desiccation or I don't know, simulation or whatever. You cannot have that every time and 1,000th time per day. It's not possible. So there is a lot of situation when digitalization can help, can resolve these aspects. Of course, again, this is the classic question we ask as a joke. Will you travel with a captain which has only his certification only by simulator? And everybody will say no, never. And we know it. This is classic question. So even for surgery and doctors, etc., I will never accept to have a treatment by a doctor having all this study by simulation. But if he can do some amount of hours by real practicing and adding to that twice or 3 times practicing by simulation, why not? It's an added value, and it costs more or less, as I said, if we take into consideration the scaling effects, because you develop one time, you use it 100 or thousands times, and this is the idea, why not? So again, we are not, technology obsessed or technology fanatics. No, the idea is that we are trying to answer requirements, needs, improvements by selecting the good technology. And what I said in the beginning, which I want to say it again, the game technology and the game design world is very in advance in terms of usability, ergonomy, aesthetic, realism, interaction. Why? Because at the beginning, since the beginning, a game is something we do by choice. And because we do it by choice, we are very, very, we are very, very exigeant. Demanding. Because you will never do something by choice if it is not well done, totally ergonomic, totally attractive, etc. So we had this challenge since the beginning. The game technology and the game community know us since the beginning. And this is why, more or less, we have a kind of advance compared to the classical software development community by having this feeling and this capacity to answer high challenging scenario of attractivity, immersion, interaction, etc. And this is what I said at the beginning. We have to get this spirit, this way of doing and thinking and designing and developing more than the game by itself.
And just to build on his comment, today when I am coming not from the technology side, I'm coming from the user side, the customer side. So if I brief a startup or a company to develop a serious game for us, I want to be involved at the beginning. I want to brief them and to have my future user, my future students participating in the development. We are in agile methodology. We are using design thinking, UX technology. So the user, the people who will live the training are involved in the development. It's a co-development. So, and I think it's very important to have this co-development between technology folks and also the user, the customer.
some other questions? I have a question. We know that serious game or gamification or some have a benefits with repeatability. You can use many times. If you stop, you can bring back the game in a simulation. You cannot stop and come back 15 minutes later. There is some things benefits when you are in a serious game. Sometimes I read some papers now of what about techno stress? You know, when people are immersive in a technology device every day, sometimes there is techno stress. How serious game or digital approach can bring people to manage this techno stress sometimes when you are in front of computers or something like that? How can we learn about, because medical staff, nursing staff, we have a lot of technology to use, and how serious game can bring to us to manage this techno stress like cyber attacks, you know? How can we reflect that?
The more you train, the more you develop spontaneous behavior and the right behavior at the right time. And it decreases the stress if you train very, 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 very many times the same situation. When you are used to have this type of accident, incident, and then knowing that you are so well prepared, the day you have an issue arising, you are managing your stress much better because you are used to it. So it's only by having repetitive training that you feel much better prepared. It's the preparation readiness which makes you confident. In any case, if a cyber attack, for example, occurs in a hospital, I have trained so many times, so different simulations. Maybe it's the only one which I have never trained, but I have developed reaction, spontaneous reaction, and the right behavior, which makes me feel more confident. And then when I go to work every day, in case a cyber attack would arise, I am prepared.
If I can add something, it's very obvious that when we start using technology, there is some intrusion of this technology, and it depends on the technology. There is some technologies which are not intrusive. For example, adding the recording, as you said, it's a camera set up in the roof, and it's okay. It's not intrusive. But putting, for example, a HoloLens device, yeah, it's intrusive. We cannot say that it's it's nothing. It's something that you feel it, and it's here, and it has some constraints, etc. This is, let's say, for any technology we use, we have this balance to make also between how much added value this technology can add and how much side effects or disadvantage or intrusion it can bring. But there is a tendency now for non-intrusive interaction. This is a big, let's say, research domain in the human-computer interaction, what we call natural user interfaces and interactions. So it is based mainly on, for example, gesture, immersion, pointing by A's, tactile, voice-based interaction. So all these technologies are making big progress, and using this technology, we can more and more try to let the technology be non-intrusive or with minimum intrusion, and avoid this schema of being connected to 6 machines and 30 robots in order to do something useful. No, the tendency now is to to hide computers and calculation and devices, and to let the user be as free and as non-equipped as possible. Of course, it's not an easy task. It's not for now. We are not 100% equipped, but we are moving to that. Just to give you one example, I am now preparing a project also with HIG, with the Hôpitaux of Geneva, for people having, excuse me, I don't know the words very well, but ils ont un implant cochléaire.
Cochlear implants.
Yeah, something like this, helping them for two things. First, to hear, and other for people who have trouble of equilibrium. Balance, the troubles, etc. So it's not this the idea, but the idea is in order to make tests, clinical tests for these people, it is very difficult, because when we put them in a laboratory, etc., it's okay. Because they are in a stressful situation, etc. But I discussed with, and this is the subject of our collaboration, is how to test these people in everyday situation, at home, in the street, etc. And here we have a big issue, because we have to collect a lot of data. It must be very precise, because for these people we need the eye movements, the orientation of the head, the orientation of all the skeleton, etc. And by high precision. It's not a question of 5 centimeters, it's a question of millimeters. And how to perform all that with non-intrusive technology, because they need to live in their home, and we cannot give them big robots with them, etc. They have to live, etc. And also there is a problem of energy, storage, movement, non-intrusive. So it's very challenging. So this is what I said. It will be always a challenge. We are moving toward that. We have a lot of technology helping us to go in this direction, but we will stay, let's say, fighting to find the right way, because technology brings something, but brings also constraints and disadvantage, and we have always to move in order to enhance the first part and reduce the second part, but it's an everyday challenge, let's say.
We have some skills in medical staff, nursing staffs. We have to train decision making, stressing situation we have to manage. What about attitudes? Sometimes we have some constraint, and sometimes we have some attitudes to have with patients. How can bring technology to...
You mean behavior?
In behavior, attitudes with patients, attitudes with our colleagues when we are working, how we can manage this or enhance this development of competency or behavior, because sometimes it's the major issue in working with people. Sometimes it's behavior we have each other in a team. How can we enhance that?
Serious gaming is a good way to train. You mainly train behavior, attitudes, because you are put in different situations, which are, you have make an analysis at the beginning. You identify with patients several typology of patients, several type of behavior, and what would be the best way to react, to help, to demonstrate empathy or understanding, but also giving advice without being too intrusive, letting the patient decide by themselves. Here we are really in a behavioral training, and you can also collect all the typology, the way patient would react, and you can have library of different behaviors, and you can train the students with all these different types of behavior, what would be the best reaction in that case. And this is possible only with a library of all the behavior possible, and it allows you in a minimum period of time with a setting. You can replay and replay and replay a lot of time the same scenarios, and it helps to train all your students. So you can have this mass training, and you can repeat the training because you have this library of all possible behavior in such condition.
Yeah, so the question you asked is it deals with what we call soft skills. It's not the technicity. It's not the
hard skills. Not.
Yeah,
it's just soft skills.
Soft skills, and of course, as you said, soft skills are very difficult to teach because it's not a question of theory. It's a question of being in the situation and behave, and also being facing to a lot of diversity of situation. And we come back to my previous comment before, how to create all these situations. So let's take, for example, a nurse, and she has to react against many kind of passion behavior. If you make that in real case, what is the chance or the probability to see all the kind of situation in 1 year or 2 years? It's very low. But in simulation, in role playing, etc., by making taxonomies and making previous studies and developing libraries, etc., you can reduce this time and augment this probability to see everything. Of course, it will not be very real and very and exhaustive, and there will be some limitation, but at least we can see a diversity of situation, and we can train them. And this is, I think, one situation where simulation, digital materials, also now we have a lot of new technologies like, for example, machine learning, etc., which we have, for example, intelligent bot, intelligent agent, which can simulate little bit human
reaction.
Human reaction. It will not be perfect, but it's okay for training, and it's better than nothing. Again, and for all this situation, really gamified simulation or serious gaming can reduce really the time needed for teaching and learning and training all these things. It is not possible to do it theoretically.
Thank you so much. Yes?
When you introduce a new training techniques, do you go through some piloting phase with a subset of students, or with a control group, you would not go through that technique? Or just do you, everybody just go for it and you rely on your experience of the past years to make a comparison?
No, it's really a co-created briefing. And we, using design thinking, we always involve at the very, very beginning the users, the students, the people who are facing this situation every day, experts. So really, we test and develop. Test, then upgrade and redevelop. It's really the phase. We don't wait as it was in the very, very past. We developed something and then we test it. Now we really are in a mode of co-creation, testing, upgrading, retesting, co-creation, so we can secure that the final product is really matching the pedagogic objective we had at the very beginning, and also we involved the people who will be future students as well.
So my question was, you involve all of them?
Yes. Okay, you take a panel, representative panel of the future users.
And to give you an idea about my experience. I'm not, I'm only computer engineer, okay, specialist in immersion and gamification, gaming, etc. So I rarely are the initiator of a project. I'm not capable to innovate in how to train nurses or medical staff or people in the watch industry, etc. This is more. It is not my my competence domain. But what happens in many times is that people from this domain know very well what works good and where there is issues. So when they come to us, they have already some
A briefing.
yeah, some directions, and they know what they have to tackle. What they are asking us is only what is the best technological way to do it, etc. And by this discussion, me bringing my know-how of developing things, using a lot of technology, and their expertise of the domain, we start building. And of course, the test is something which is very necessary. Each time we speak about something which is highly interactive, highly user-centered, etc., it is we are obliged to develop, like my colleague said,
Inputs come from the user,
from the users,
customer.
because you cannot imagine the reaction and the way of doing of a user. You have to develop, to give him, test him, and you make a trial and prove cycle. This is the only way to do it. And to come again to my initial comments, this is something we know very well in the game design since the 60s, since 15 years ago, because in the game design we know very well that we cannot expect and test all the situation. So in the game design, we were the first. We introduced the alpha testing, beta testing, pilot testing, etc., which is in software, in classic software design, is not the case. We only make unit testing, integration system, and then we deploy it, that's all. And then we start maintenance. But in the game design, since 15 years ago, we are used to involve the user and to have pilot testing after the alpha and beta testing, etc., because we know that it's very difficult to test that except by doing it. And this is why we try to do also with serious games and with gamification projects.
The good start
Yes.
is to be user-centric, is really to have a very, very well-defined cahier de charge coming from the users. So the analysis, the user needs, everything must be very well done before going to the engineer side.
I'm sorry, we are close to the end of the round table. I want to ask Fernanda,
Fernanda,
because we don't
don't
ask
see
her a
her.
lot, if she wants to say something. We are very bavard, both of us. So I don't know, Fernanda, if you want to say something.
While you were speaking, I was thinking if I can ask you something. Based on your experience, how do you feel that the end user, I mean, the people who has the knowledge, as you were explaining, you are the expert on games, right? But we develop games to be applied in education, in health domain. How do you feel that game is being accepted by these people that has the knowledge in the application?
I didn't got the question. I cannot hear.
Yeah, it's
We-
very,
we don't-
il est saccadé.
Yes, there is there is
Really, another message that I received from you than from Fernanda
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of the technology that it's not.
Fernanda, we are sorry, but can you repeat your question, because in a short way, because we have some technical difficulty to hear you.
Yes, I had the same problem during the conference. I was asking, how do you feel that the people from the other field, the experts that has the knowledge in the application, accept the idea of having a game for that, a serious game?
Yeah, it's a usual question. It's even a cultural question. So, for example, sometimes when we go to the in the banking domain or in the administration domain, which is supposed to be very serious with costar cravat, etc., and we speak about games, etc. At the beginning, they start laughing and what is that these boys are saying, etc. But yeah, this was, let's say, 10 or 15 years ago. Now, more and more, and thanks to the guy who invented the word serious gaming, we start by enhancing serious, and then we say game, and we try to and we try to explain that what is behind serious gaming is not the game itself, is, as I said before, is all the way of doing, the way of thinking, the way of designing, and all the technology advances we have. And of course, we can add ludification, gamification, techniques and patterns, etc. But the idea is we start having better acceptance from people, and now also this is thanks to the pilot projects in health, training, in education, in many sectors, for example, public and citizen sensitization, etc. There is a lot of initiatives that have shown the benefits of that and the serious of that. This is why we start having less bad reaction, as you said. So people are more willing to collaborate and to take advantage of this. This is my feeling, at least.
We gonna thanks everybody, every speakers for our presentation. Thank you, Fernanda from Sydney. I hope it's not too late, it's not too early.
No, it's okay. It's the afternoon now.
It's the afternoon now. I don't know the
beginning
jet
of the
lag.
evening.
Thank you so much for your presentation. We're gonna close these sessions, and thank you
very
everybody.
much. Thank you.
And
Nice.
we have some bags for the audience. If you don't have, we are gonna take that for you. We're gonna stop now.
Yeah.
And there is a
What
lunch
is the
break
program,
now.
Stefan?
So the next is the lunch break. So everybody will appreciate that, I'm sure. So we will go to the cafeteria here. And then we'll be back, I would say, at 10 to 2 or 5 to 2, just before the first invited guest. It will be a private company. I will not say no more about it. And it seems to be I'm missing something. I think I'm missing something. No, it's fine. Okay. Have a good lunch, everyone. Thank you so much. Many thanks.